first bit is that Luke Shaw done well there. Wasn't under a great deal of pressure, but everything he done well. I don't think he made a mistake the whole game, to be perfectly honest. His interception, his positional play, with the ball at his feet, everything was better on that left-hand side because you had a left-footed player or somebody who's comfortable on their left side to go to their left to open up the play. On the Harry Maguire illness, on a cold, wet night in Manchester, and someone's not well enough to start a game, you don't have them sitting on the bench and bring them on. So I don't really understand that, or I don't get that, and I think it's a load of rubbish, to be perfectly honest. I think Ten Hag was looking at something else. I think in certain ways he got what he was looking for. I think he'd like to see that tested a little bit more against better oppositions, or opposition that's going to really have a go. But no, that wasn't illness. You don't have someone sitting on the bench on a cold, wet night in Manchester and then to bring them on. That doesn't make any sense at all. So the illness story was fabricated in my opinion. Well, I think that's totally wrong for him to say that. As a local boy, the person who Manchester's in his heart as a city, and Manchester United as a football club, that isn't the cleverest thing to have said, really. And he wasn't disrespected. I would just turn around and say it wasn't down to politics why he wasn't playing. He wasn't playing because he wasn't good enough. He wasn't consistent, and he never done enough. That's the reason why. He might look on that in a few years' time. He might just get that. It'll take a bit of a while to have a good look in the mirror and then at himself, and he might ask himself questions and answer them honestly. And he'll suddenly find out that maybe it's him, the way he conducted himself in those last few years at United, that kind of put people off of him, because a lot of the stuff, people made judgments what he'd done off the field, and those judgments were taken onto the field because of his performances. So he set his own stall out on how people saw him. So at some point he will look at himself, but it's nothing to do. When you talk about politics, which is an incredible word to be using with football as well, words that should never be used together. Totally wrong. And he's been very disrespectful to the club by putting out something like that in a newspaper. So if he wants to talk politics, then he should go and talk to Gary Neville, but he shouldn't be using that with Manchester United and his own personal issue of why he wasn't playing regularly. And you look at yourself when that's happening, why you're not playing. You ask yourself questions. That's what you do. I was there to watch him again, and I have to say the answer is yes, I think he can. I think he can. Just by he can play, you can keep putting the ball in the box if you want, and he'll get on the end of it. But you can definitely play through him. Holds people off well. Knows how to run, work the line. Knows how to get in the faces or wind up centre halves. Discipline-wise, he's definitely improved. Yeah, I can see that. But he will cost big, because Fulham, he's integral to Fulham. When you're talking about them scoring goals, I think if he's not on the pitch, then he affects Fulham by at least 70%. The chances of them scoring, they lose 70% of the opportunity of them scoring goals if he's not on the pitch for them. And that's why, when he's not, everybody around talks, Mitrovic's not playing, that lessens the opportunity of Fulham maybe winning a game of football. As we saw when they played Manchester United before the league closed down, they created so many opportunities. And if he's on the park against Manchester United, I don't think United win that game. I think he needs game time. I think he's still got a lot to learn on and off the pitch. Yes, but it's been a bit of a graveyard for Manchester United players going to Goodison Park on loan or playing. I don't think the Everton fans will be really, really pleased about that after the amount of Man United players that have come there. They're still getting over, even though it's not United, over the fact of Dele Alli. that one as well. So I don't know if that one would be a go. I don't think even the player, because straight away you're putting yourself in I'm going to say, precarious position of having to go there and try and save the club, because the club is just on and off the park is falling apart at this moment in time. So I don't know if he'd want to go, and I would understand him at this point if he didn't want to go to Everton to go on loan. Yes, he wants games of football, but I don't think Everton's a club, because he's going into the massive melting pot if he goes there.